Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Now, the central government has extended the tenure of Attorney General K.K. Venugopal by another year till 30th June 2022. Now, as we know, the Attorney General for India is a constitutional post and is basically the top legal officer in the country. So, in today's episode of KYC or Know Your Constitution, I'll tell you more about this constitutional post and what the AG or the Attorney General actually does. Now, it's Article 76 of the Constitution that talks about this post. As you can see the provision on your screens, it basically says that the Attorney General is to be appointed by the President, and as to who can be appointed to the post, the provision says that any person qualified to be a Supreme Court judge can be so appointed. Now, this brings us to the qualifications. Like I said, it can be anybody who's qualified to be a Supreme Court judge. So that basically means they need to be an Indian citizen. They also could have been a High Court judge for at least 5 years, or a High Court lawyer for at least 10 years, or they can also be a distinguished jurist. These are the qualifications to be a High Court judge, which also apply to who can be appointed as an Attorney General. Now, as for what the Attorney General for India does, Article 76 simply says that it is the Attorney General's duty to give advice to the Government of India on legal matters. They can also appear on behalf of the government in any court of the country, and that's exactly what their role entails. So, for example, take Venugopal's case. He's representing the central government in several key and important cases, including the constitutional challenge to dilution of Article 370, the central government's management of COVID-19 pandemic, the case challenging Section 124A of the Indian Penal Code, which criminalizes sedition, among several others. He has also successfully defended the government in the Rafale case in 2018 and in the constitutional challenge to Aadhaar as well, among several other such cases. So you get an idea of what an Attorney General's role actually entails. And in the words of the Supreme Court, in fact, the Attorney General is a friend, philosopher and guide of the court. But as for the relationship between the Attorney General and the Union government, the court has said that there is certainly an element of lawyer-client relationship there, and therefore, with that logic, the office of the Attorney General is also outside the purview of the Right to Information Act. What this essentially means and boils down to is that, for example, if there is any communication or any legal advice between the government and the Attorney General, like I said, on any legal issue maybe, then that cannot be demanded to be disclosed under the Right to Information or the RTI Act, because of the nature of relationship between the Attorney General and the government. But now the question here arises, can the Attorney General actually represent private parties? So we have the Law Officer Condition of Service Rules 1987, and Rule 8 of these rules bars law officers from representing any party other than the central or the state governments or PSUs or etc. It has a list, as you can see on your screens. It also bars them from advising any party against the government. So if there's a litigation involving the government, they can't advise the other party in that case, or from defending any accused person in a criminal prosecution, or accepting any appointment to any office in any company or corporation, or even advising any ministry without the reference of the law ministry. So these are the sort of things that it bars the Attorney General from doing. But Rule 10 of Attorney General or even law officers from doing, any law officer. But Rule 10 of the same rules allows the central government to relax these provisions if it thinks it necessary to do so. The only exception condition here being that Rule 8 cannot be relaxed for a matter where the Government of India or any central government instrumentality is likely to be affected. So several law officers, including the Attorney General, could apply for special permissions to relax this rule from time to time to appear for private parties, and they've done that. But there were also office memoranda issued in 2011 12 and 14, claiming that law officers, which includes this entire category of law officers, includes the Attorney General as well, that law officers have been requesting permissions to appear in private cases in a routine manner, and they also said that sometimes the number of requests is so large that it tends to take away sizable amount of time of the law officer in private matters, and in the process their prime attention in government cases suffers. This is what it exactly said. So these memoranda had requested law officers to restrain themselves from asking for permission to appear in private cases, and said that while such a request wasn't barred, the request should only be made for compelling reasons and in exceptional circumstances. But it didn't really define what these compelling reasons or exceptional circumstances could be. This bit has been a matter of controversy in the past too. In fact, for example, just speaking of law officers here, in 2017, then Additional Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, who's now the Solicitor General, was granted government permission to represent BJP party chief Amit Shah's son when he had filed a criminal defamation case against a news website The Wire back in 2017. This was over a report about Jay Shah's financial dealings, and Mehta was granted government permission to represent Jay Shah in that case. But then Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi had then taken a dig at the BJP for this, tweeting out, calling it state legal help, basically, as you can see on your screens. Then Union Minister Piyush Goyal had then stepped in, and he clarified that Mehta had actually sought Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad's permission to appear for Jay Shah, and that the approval was since granted. He had also told reporters that an ASG can in fact appear in a matter between two private parties after taking due permission from the authorities, and that's what the position has been, as I mentioned before. And as I mentioned, several attorney generals in the past as well, including Mukul Rohatgi, MC Sitalwad, CK Daftari and Soli Sorabji, they've all, just to name a few, they've all also exercised this option and obtained permission from the central government to represent private parties in different cases. Now, notably, the Constitution does not specify the tenure for the post of the AG. So, the first Attorney General of India, MC Setalwal, held the post for as long as 13 years, from January 1950 to March 1963. But the Law Officer Conditions of Service Rules 1987 do say that a law officer shall hold office for a term of 3 years, and that they can be reappointed after this initial 3-year period for another term for a maximum of another 3 years. Also, their appointment can be terminated by either side, that is the government or the law officer, with a 3 months notice. So, for example, KK Venugopal as well was also first appointed as the 15th Attorney General for India on 1st July 2017 for a period of 3 years. But when his 3-year term ended last year, his term was extended by another year, and now he has been given another extension.
Now, one last pointer, there's another constitutional provision that does talk about the AG. It's Article 88, and it basically allows the Attorney General to participate in any parliamentary proceedings and proceedings of any parliamentary committees as well that he may be asked to be a member of. But the only difference is that Attorney Generals don't have the right to vote in any such proceedings. This is Apurva Mandhani for The Print. Do follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel.